some paint on the palette again. So give me a moment. You won't see much activity just yet. You'll hear it off camera. So, alright, I'm just trying to, let's see. Just, we got our white going. Just gonna add some black. Close this thing. Alright guys. Hey, Music Videos, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for saying hello. Hope you're doing well. I'll be on camera here in a second. Just getting that paint set up. Adding a little bit of white and black. We still have some of this warm gray, I think. Yeah, we still have some of that. Warm gray. Doing well, that's good to hear. What you been up to? Been lurking on Emmett's streams at all? I'm trying to just get this very, very light gray going on here. Okay. This might be the lightest based gray. It isn't going to be full on white, pure white. Hello, Elvira Batista. Thank you. Currently sewing products. Nice. What kind of stuff are you sewing? My mom used to do a lot of sewing. She used to sew little little teeny stuffed creations. Usually like fit with felt. Yeah, when I was a lot younger. She doesn't really do much of that anymore. She lost sight in one of her eyes. And, I think due to like little strokes. And she wasn't trying to let anybody know. But recently, she had her other eye checked up on, and it was having some issues, but they were able to. My brother, because she lives up in the next state north of us, got her to the eye doctor and stuff like that, and so they were able to salvage her other eye, so she's able to see at least out of one eye. I think her other eyes, she's legally blind in it. So I don't know how that would affect doing work like that, but she hasn't done it in many, many years. But she still has all the supplies. When I go back there, her room is still filled with all that stuff. I don't know if she would ever get back onto it. She used to do a lot of gardening, and when she lost sight in one of her eyes, she kind of stopped doing all of that. Okay. Okay, let's see. Can we slowly match this stuff? Oh shoot. Making stockings for people to do embroidery on the cuff. Oh, okay. Sounds cool. Getting ready for Christmas, I'm assuming. Okay. Hey, Sabrina Suburban Garden, welcome. Thank you for joining. Your eyesight used to be 20/20, but now I have readers at 2 mag, sometimes 6. Yeah, I don't know what mine is at, but I definitely need my reading glasses to paint if I'm doing stuff like this. I think I still look over my top of my frames, which my vision is pretty good up real close. But yeah, if I sit back a little bit, I definitely need the readers. And these are prescriptions. So. Hope I didn't go too dark. Hope I didn't go too dark. It's probably still real light. Wait, did I already do that bit? I gotta make sure I follow this diagonal. So I'm just kind of trying to eyeball it. Well, it's getting close. Trying to get these value shifts kind of slightly subtle. Actually, I have an artist friend of mine. He started doing some sewing. He got, I don't know where he got it, but he got himself a little sewing machine. And give me a second here, and I'll show you. He gave me a couple things that he created. Usually does Valentine's Day gifts. So the things that he does are pretty wild and out there. He made this piece. I should probably keep it clean. I was gonna make a box for it. This kind of reminds me of stuff that my grandmother would create, but not this wild. But she would use old material like this, which looks like it's maybe maybe like some furniture or something covering. He's got some felt here. He did some I don't know, it's kind of like a boot lace. This has some copper in it. I'm not sure. Some kind of like maybe cotton, cottony. What's that stuff? Yeah, this looks like an old chair. Yeah, it's kind of monster-esque. I think he just cuts out some, very simple or rudimentary figure kind of shapes, and he turns them into creatures. Here's this other one that's kind of almost E.T. like. This is like wire. I think there's, I don't know if that's, it doesn't look hand sewn, because there's like some kind of material on the inside of that opening, and then he's sewn in the colored wire. I'm assuming like some kind of electronic wire, but it's got a green casing. It's kind of cool. I mean, from an artistic kind of point of view. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think I had it in. But yep, this is maybe a shirt, some kind of shirt material. I don't know what this yellow stuff is. Yeah, I'm not sure if this was a mix of polyester and cotton or something. But yeah, this blue felt's cool. Yeah, he had a whole bunch of these, and he said, you can take whatever ones you want. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I thought about making little boxes for them, like light boxes or something, and putting them in the box so that they're a little bit more safe than... Yeah, good to use of scrap. Fun, creative pieces. Yeah, he's definitely more leaning towards the art side of things. Not sure if I have anything else of his just laying around. He also does like little metal sculptures and big metal sculptures. We met way back in the late 90s. We both ended up working in the kitchen of our local cooperative grocery store back in the deli. And that's how we met. and we just started hanging out because we were both creative artist types, and we go to museums. Eventually he got a studio space, and he'd invite me to come over and utilize the space. Most of the time I spent or was spent cleaning the space, because he would make a huge mess with all the sculptures that he was creating. So I'd spend like half the time cleaning the space to work. But it was still fun. Those were good times back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I swear, why is this seem too light? Yeah, but he still makes stuff. He does sculptures, and sometimes he paints, but mostly sculptures. Yeah. Yeah, that particular co-op had been around ever since I was a kid. Not in the same location, but they ended up growing, and where all the hippies hung out at. Come and get their food and stuff. Their Whole Foods. Yeah, it was a fun time back then. I was in my mid to late 20s, and there were so many different artistic types, musicians, writers, visual artists. It was a good time. Knew a lot of people that went to the local art schools. God, why does it seem like I cannot get the right match on these? Trying to follow the contour of this cylinder, but also keep the angle. I just can't get it subtle enough. Yeah, back then I was experimenting with a lot of different types of paints and manner of application of those paints. Yeah, he would always come up with the craziest, wackiest things, and I'd be like, WTF? What the fuck? Because at that time I didn't go to art school. I was reading a lot about art. I was painting. So he kind of exposed me to, even though I'd been to galleries and stuff and seen like crazy works. Like he was the first person that I actually knew that made work that was just so out there. And it always confounded me like what is the purpose of this? Are you asking if I'm stippling? More like hash marks, not quite full on stipple. Yeah, he would just get different materials together and then just create something, and it would just be like, I know this is sculpture, but what is the function? And that's where my linear mind was still like uh, kind of in control. Like it's got to be this or that. Even though I was exposed to a lot of art over the years and gone to museums, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is, I guess it's in a museum. This is art. But yeah, I didn't I didn't understand that it's more poetical than necessarily serving a function. It does serve a function, but not in the way that most people think, or the typical normal person thinks. Yeah, so he would do like, and those soft sculptures that I just showed you probably aren't even that out of the box or that um, not so normal anymore. But they're still still outside of the box enough where average people are just like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? And I'm just like, why wouldn't you do that? Yeah, I have to give him a lot of credit for cracking open my my mind and to seeing and accepting things. I mean, it might not necessarily be art, but it's still a creative act, which is, I guess, in a sense, an art. Nowadays, everybody wants very concrete um, rules and regulations as to what art is and should be. You're a bit functional combo with art, maybe too practical sometimes. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that because we all come from our safe places, like where we feel comfortable, and hopefully you can slowly move beyond to experience something else. But it's really cool to see people who are able to just forego those boundaries, like it's nothing, like it's just natural, and for them it is natural. Like my friend, I just like he reconstructed a tree that from pieces that he picked up out in the field and reconstructed it back into a semblance of a tree and with added components. And I was like, what the hell is this thing? But I was like, as a form and an actual, you know, structure or object, it was pretty amazing like that. If he didn't take the time to do it, it would have never become reality for somebody to experience. And those type of things were lost to time because he ended up like moving to Korea, teaching English for a while, came back to the States, then went back again, and then he's back in the States again. He, I guess, Korea was a very creative but restrictive time for him, in a sense, because he didn't really learn the language. So there was always a language barrier, but he's the type of person that I don't think he let that type of thing keep him from doing what he wanted to do, which is a pretty cool trait in people, in some people. Like me, I feel like I would have to know the language before I'm going somewhere. But I guess if you just go, just throw yourself into it, uh, you'll never experience that unless you do that. Well, I think I did a pretty decent job on creating a gradient with enamel paint, because enamels are not the easiest thing to create blends with, especially soft blends and gradients, without making it look banded. I do have one more of these kind of cylindrical areas, and I'm going to probably do that so that at least those are done. So I need to flip this around, and oops, shoot, make sure it's on the lip edge here. Okay, so yes, this one here, that little vehicle there, you can see how you can see the different separations of these bands, even though I tried to kind of get those really subtle value shifts, but that's okay. It's, I guess, a part of the process is you slowly build it up. But let me, I need to get this in a position where I can, whoops, where I can get to it. Yeah, I can't mess around too much with trying to clean up all this stuff, but definitely want this to look more round and not angular. So let's go and do our top surface first. And I don't know how much of the underpainting actually shows through, because this stuff covers pretty opaque. I guess if it's thin enough, you start to see the paint underneath. Oh, what the hey? Oh, that's the talking shop. I'm like, what the hell? make sure I get the right angle with that 45 degree angle. This one's going to be a little tougher. The other one was easier because there wasn't much exposed. This one is, and it's not very cylindrical. It's more of like an oval cylinder, which it's supposed to be round, but in this case it ended up being more an ovoid. Sicky. Okay, let's try and get more of this surface area covered, because I think this won't be that narrow. Here a little bit. Let me scooch it over a tad. I think it's too far to the left of the screen. Okay, but also make sure you get that angle, but also make sure I'm, following this contour. Oh my gosh. And follow that angle. And also follow the contour. It's almost like cross hatching, but I'm not crossing anything. I'm just hatching or hashing. Oh, thanks for the likes, guys. It's hard to see the top of my phone. It's sitting on this edge of the easel. And the top portion of it's covered. Thank you guys. I know I did a little 30-minute session earlier this morning, probably just before 9 a.m. and didn't get back on till just past noon. So hopefully I can get some good decent session in before lunch. So if I can finish this form here before then, I will be happy. Kind of interesting to do an entire painting just with oil enamels. Right now I'm just doing grayscale. Light and dark values in black and white and gray. But to add color to that would be even more insane. Not sure how that paint would hold up over time on a canvas, but it'd be interesting to try. Maybe do a series of just only enamel paints on canvas to see what would happen. I don't know if they would be very intricate or more geometrical. Or more expressionistic. It would be representational or more abstract. So many possibilities. I think we're getting closer, but I want to make this very, very top part more opaque. I'm using Turpenoid to thin out these enamels. So there's kind of a translucency to some of this surface area. Man, I'll be so happy when this is finally completed, this entire painting, because I have plenty of other paintings that need attention. I was able to do this day in and day out, I'd get a lot more done. But for now, it is very precious, my time that I do get to do this, because I don't have all the time in the world to do it. starting to look a little smoother. It won't be completely perfect, but we'll get it as close as we can. Thinking on art function mode, small versions of the sewn monsters on keychains or purse backpack charm might be something people would like. Yeah, I could see that too. I mean, not that size. I know they're kind of floppy, and but you never know. I mean, I could definitely see them smaller, but then the smaller you go, the more pain in the butt they are to like actually put together. But I don't know. Maybe it's not that much of a pain in the butt. I don't really sew. I could see sewing by hand and doing that because that's the kind of stuff my mom used to do. Um, that's not too bad of a subtle shift. But like the scale that I just showed you, that would probably work too. I've seen people with some plushies that size. But yeah, just kind of all weirded out. He's not very. Um, how would you describe? Like monetarily. Uh, Sorry, I'm listening to something too while I'm talking, so that's kind of monetarily oriented. He just likes creating stuff. So to get him to like make a bunch, knowing that it would be an object, a commodity, I think it would be harder on him. He likes to create stuff and just like give it away. And I get it. For me, because of the amount of time I put into, especially work like this size, I'm not about to give this away. Even though I've given away work in the past, usually not stuff I spent a ton of hours on. It's just, I don't know. It's a nice gesture. It's nice to think that could be something, but once you start putting a lot of time into something, it's hard to let it go for free. But that would be an interesting artistic venture, just like a concept. I don't know. Most people would think you were crazy for giving away stuff for free, for not wanting to get some kind of compensation back for the time and effort you put into it. Okay, I need to remember exactly where I'm at in this process. But I could pass that along to him. He usually has the artistic vision, but when it comes to turning it into something that's marketable, that's not his on his radar. I don't know, maybe I don't know if he'd be opposed to it or not. No, if I did smaller works, even then, like I've done these flowers, and I'm like, knowing how much time I put into them, and I think this is why painting is kind of going. A lot of people just kind of, they want to produce a lot. They don't care how it turns out. Maybe they do, I don't know. Some of the stuff I see, most people aren't concerned with like the quality of it, but maybe for them it's more of the expression, just getting it out. But the thing is, that's everybody nowadays. You can, oops, shoot. I need to remember to keep my brushes cleaned before the paint starts taking over and drying up. 2 of your stockings just sold, encouraging to make more. Yeah, um, people are into it. It's easier when you get a demand for it. When you do some and you're just sitting on it and it's not going nowhere, nobody's taking any interest in it, then you kind of, if your oriented goal is to make money, then you won't pursue that particular thing that you think um, should make money. I don't know if that's why people make bad paintings, because they know they're not going to make any money on painting. I don't know. Maybe that's a wild take. Because I feel like if you put your time and effort into your work, then it would probably sell. But I know a lot of that, like, expressionistic work is just, not to make money, but to just paint and get um, feelings and emotions out onto canvas or some kind of substrate surface. And I hope that dries dark. I'm gonna be disappointed if that's lighter than the upper area. Like, don't get me wrong, I love expressionistic work. I've done some myself. But that's awesome. I would love to sell 2 paintings, 2 stockings. That would definitely make me more apt to make more of that. Yeah, doing something like this and going into it thinking you're going to make a ton of money, I don't know. There's a possibility that it could sell for a lot of money, or you could just be hanging on to it for a long, long, long time. That's kind of the chance, the risk you take with painting. Probably why people paint so bad, because trends and tastes change quite quickly. So why spend a ton of time on a painting when nobody is going to be interested in it because it doesn't fit their taste or their aesthetic. That's why it's kind of hard to get into painting thinking you're going to make a ton of money. Unless you do portraits, people do landscapes. I mean, those kind of things still maintain a popular that are into that type of work. Man, I can't tell if this is going to be too dark or not dark enough till it actually dries. A lot of hatching. If I charged by the brush stroke, nobody would be able to afford this painting. Can I even afford this painting? Your daughter paints well, but didn't like to sell it at first. It was too personal to sell, like selling your favorite pet. Yeah, I get that. I'm not sure if I was like that when I first started painting. Not that people were wanting to buy my work, my early paintings at all. I've always kind of painted what I wanted to paint, and I think that's what makes it hard to sell these type of works. I'm not opposed to letting stuff like this go. I think I would probably hang on to this for a little bit before I sold it or put it out there for sale, unless somebody offered me a ridiculous amount of money. I'm not so attached that I wouldn't be able to let go of it, because the thing for a painter is to be painting. So eventually, unless you're preparing for like a show or something and you need to make sure you have work, yeah, that's where you wouldn't want to let go of anything. Well, it's not too bad. I think there's a posters or prints may be a thing. Yeah, there's always making prints of your work, especially if you don't want to part with your original work just yet. But there is a very small percentage of the population that is looking for original work and not prints. I think with prints, most could afford that type of thing and not an original painting. Unless you're doing very small works. Even then, that doesn't mean that a small work couldn't be valued more than a larger work. Yeah, art collectors. Those are a lot harder to find. Yeah, I myself have been terrible about keeping. I think for anybody that's serious about their work and their painting, maintaining a mailing list is very important, especially a mailing list of people who have collected your work in the past. And this is where I've made the mistake of not doing that. So, for anybody out there who is seriously focused on this as their, and it could apply to any other arts too, you know, once somebody's collected your work, you should probably maintain a relationship with them in some way, because they're more likely to collect more of your work since they purchased one. I've had pieces that, let's see, I was probably in my mid to late 20s. I think at that point I had participated in a few shows, mostly group shows, and I got invited to show my work at a salon, and this was in Minneapolis. And I had a bunch of existing work, but I created this, which was probably at that time my largest painting. It had to have been at least 6 feet by maybe 5 feet or 5.5 feet, somewhere around that size. I built the frame, I stretched the canvas, I gessoed it, I did all the stuff, and then did the painting on it. I had that at the salon show, and I got, after the show, I remember getting a call or message from the owner of the salon, and somebody was interested in buying that big painting. They wanted it for their bedroom, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay. I can't remember. I think I sold it for like $500 or something. I mean, I at the time, new emerging artist. You know, I wasn't thinking, oh, like, I should probably ask for a ton more money. I was just excited somebody wanted this big old painting that I did. Mixed media, kind of along the lines of this, but a little bit more abstract, but still had elements of representation in there. I think there was like some flowers. I guess at the time you could say I was influenced by the neo-expressionists, especially Jean-Michel Basquiat, but this definitely didn't look like no Basquiat. It was, even though I was kind of inspired by his work, I didn't want my work to look like his stuff, because, and this was in the late 90s, and not a whole lot of people at that time were aware of him. I think around that time was when his work really started to take off among just the average person, because that would have been like between 10 and 15, because he died in 88, and if this was the late 90s or maybe the early 2000s. Can't remember if it was, maybe it could have been, let me see, where would I have done that painting? I think I painted it at my brother's. I think I had just recently moved back into the cities from living out in the suburbs of Minneapolis, like, dang, almost like farmland, like the rural areas of Minnesota, just like outside of the Twin Cities. So maybe it was like, it was definitely post 9/11, so it was probably 2003. So that would have been like 15 years after his death. His popularity amongst just like regular people was really starting to take off. You started to see more books on him and his life. So I was definitely influenced after first seeing his work and just mesmerized by the sheer energy just that went into his stuff. So, I was still kind of taking traditional iconography, like flowers. I can't remember if there was a bird or anything in it, but there was definitely like elements of a grid, different symbols or icons. Used spray paint, enamel paints, along with oil. Can't remember if I used any acrylic, maybe some house paint, stuff like that too. But yeah, surprised that somebody wanted that, bought that. I didn't know who it was. All I knew it was somebody that knew the owner of the salon. Yep, never got a name, never got a contact. So I have no idea who owns that painting, if they still own that painting. I don't have a picture of it, because at that time, 2003, I'm sure there was some digital cameras, and I may have had access to some because my dad, being a space planner architect, always had some kind of form of a camera, and I think I remember him having a digital camera early on, but it would have been bad quality anyways, because I have pictures from way back then that were just so low resolution. It would have been better off shot with film. But yeah, I didn't get any kind of contact. I guess I could probably contact the salon owner. I think she still has that salon. It might be run by her daughter now. That's not too bad. I think I'm getting this kind of more rounded shape. So once I get down to the bottom here, I don't think I'm gonna mess with it too much more. But yeah, the importance of getting back around to the point finally, the importance of keeping a mailing list. of collectors. And sometimes pieces just end up in the wind like that. I have a few works that are like that, but I do have documentation of those pieces. So, not that they're the best of documentation. Again, shot on film and not shot very good. Decent enough, but I don't know if I have the actual or shot with early digital equipment, so the resolution is still pretty low. Where you can't really do much with it. Because if you try to resize it or blow it up, it just looks pixelated. Looks like garbage. Yeah, it's always nice when something you make, there's somebody likes it or wants it. It's a nice compliment. Yeah, I just assume that the painting, if they still have it, either got sold to somebody else or became something that somebody else painted over, or maybe just trashed. Yep, if it's one day it's not matching the decor, and then the next day it's out the door. And since I was fairly unknown, still to this day unknown artist, most likely got trashed, or somebody recycled it or reused the canvas. But I'd like to think they still own it. And they're wondering, who the hell is the artist again? Because they never met me. Not that it was some grand masterpiece. It's just a painting. I wish I had a photo of it, though, so I can look back and be like, okay, that was something that I created. I always like seeing that stuff, because each new painting is like another stepping stone along the path of this journey of creating, because it is definitely not guaranteed that an artist is going to make money. Off their work. I mean, if you're in it long enough and you believe in it strongly, believe in what you're doing, you'll probably sell some stuff. Or you put in the work. Because I've seen some stuff that people make and others purchase, and I'm like, Okay. You spent how much on what? But that's my own limitation. Okay, getting there. Who knows? This piece can end up in a junkyard too. Lost in the back room of a dusty curio shop, or in somebody's closet, or leaned up against the wall if there's no room on the walls, leaning up against the wall with other paintings leaning up against it, just being neglected. It's almost like it is the responsibility of the artist to make sure that the work, if they believe in the work, gets a proper home. Somebody that will care for it, just like a pet. Well, I think I got that. I think I got it looking, you know what? The only thing though, is I want to adjust, I want to adjust this curve. Okay, this needs to be a little darker right here. Okay. Not. Whoop, hold on a second. Hold up. Well, how about that curve? But I think I need to do these too. Gosh, anything with a curve on it, I think I need to fix. I can't have like this And then that next to it, but this looks weird. This looks very strange. Oh, I forgot. Don't put your finger in there. Okay, that's gone. Over with. Okay. Oh. I guess since you have the chance, fix it. I can fix it. Let's see. Oh, we got our guy Emmett. Emmett's been on for an hour at least. Doing a figure painting. Alright, that definitely works better. Okay, what's next? We were gonna do. Well, what we do need is a reference photo. Let me say hello before I do anything. Don't want to be rude. Especially if I am a moderator. not that, I don't think Emmett cares too much. He doesn't need me to be there to moderate his channel. He's good at that himself. Holy moly, it's getting chilly in here. Little fans on low and it's blowing cold air on me. Okay, so I know I need to do the mirrors. Is there any? Okay, before I do any of that, guys, let me run to the restroom real quick. Let's Okay, be right back, guys. Oh, not long, just a sec. Okay, guys, we'll be wrapping it up here soon because we're gonna do lunch, and then I can come back and do some more work. I need to start adding in. Let me see. And I don't think they're displayed. Hey, clawing the crap out of my leg. It's like, let me just stretch, and I'll just put my claws in your leg so I can stretch. Okay, yeah, there's like little lines I need to add in here. Like, let's see, whoops. Cancel. Dude, I'm trying to just move that up. Like little teeny fine lines. Let me see if I can do an example. I can get these right value. Let's see. So there's a door. Not dark enough. Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not leaving quite yet. H music videos. Like pretty soon. But if you gotta go, I appreciate you hanging out with me, chit chatting for a bit, listening to me ramble. Ah, crud. You stop. Stop. You're like pulling, you punk. You are pulling. That is still. You are a crazy cat. Crazy, knuckleheaded cat. You're a crazy, knuckleheaded cat. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Knuckleheaded cat. Dude, do not roll off me trying to hang like you're some kind of mountaineering climber. No, not dark enough. Not dark enough. Hopefully. Blowing this color. Keep watching. Yeah. As soon as my wife tells me what's up, that's when I'll wrap it up. Okay, so. Oh, shoes. I want it to be lighter, but not that light. Let's see. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. Hey, Chista, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. Okay. Alright, so 14 minutes. Just stopping by to say hello. Well, good day to you, or evening. Good to see you again. Actually, I'm about to cut this short. I gotta go run and pick up some stuff. It was great to see you in the chat. Saying hello. Always nice. Alright, we're just throwing some meters in here. Yep, my day is going great so far. Wasn't. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully it gets better. Alright, we're gonna clean up. Alright. Well, we got one set of mirrors, side mirrors on a vehicle. So it's a good start. Okay, close this up. Let this dry up. Alright, Tisa. No worries, Tisa. I'm getting ready to wrap it up. Also a bit random, but I love that motorcycle. Oh, thank you. Looks great. I think so. Yeah, you too. You have a good evening. Hopefully tomorrow's a better day for you. I wish you the best. And thank you, H Music Videos, also for hanging out. And Elvira Batista and Sabrina's Suburban Garden for dropping by and saying hello. All right, everybody. I'll be back later on. Later on. So, but yeah. Yep, we dropped those little mirrors on there. They need a little highlighting, but you know, we'll go around and add doors and whatever else we need to. Fix some headlamps. Who knows, windshield wipers? I don't know. How detailed do we go? All right, y'all. Take care. Have a good day or evening wherever you're at in the world. And I appreciate you all for the likes, the subs, coming and hanging. And yeah, hope to catch you again soon. All right, until next time. Bye, everyone.